Hello and welcome once again to Boomer 11 Live. And today we're going to be covering the Premier League. Probably, it is the weekend once again, and Saturday night and Sunday night football lay ahead of us. And I have with me Abel. Abel, right away, let's talk about the Premier League thus far. It has been a topsy turvy one. It's been a lot more competitive than last year. Last year it was just two giants, the surprising Arsenal and the always present Man City. But this time around, a lot of teams are, trying and vying for that coveted Premier League trophy. So, how do you reckon this season has been thus far? Just looking back at it.
To be very honest, as I mentioned last week as well, this is a very evenly matched Premier League in a long time. But as I mentioned even last week, things can possibly change only from here on.
Yeah.
We see this competition happen almost every season. But unlike the last 3 to 4 seasons, this is slightly more competitive. It's not a two-horse race. You've got few more teams in the mix, so things can be a little more interesting towards the latter end. At the same time, a lot of teams will be also under immense pressure because you don't want to mess it up at this point of stage in the season. Either
Yeah.
you'll fall really behind, or even if you mess up after being on top of the table, you know that the other teams can do catch up very quickly. You do not have a substantial lead as such. It's just a one game difference between the top four sides, to be very honest, in terms of becoming the number one position or the number four position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last time when we spoke, we spoke about how Arsenal could just sneak in to the top of the table if Man City and Liverpool draw, which is exactly what happened. And right now, Arsenal sit, you wouldn't say sit pretty on top, but they are right now on top with 30 points, just 1 point away from City, two from Liverpool, again, two from Aston Villa,
Yeah.
and just four from, when it comes to the number five place, Tottenham. And even a Manchester United, which is, coped so much of the criticism, are still on the sixth spot. So you would say it's such a competitive tournament that Man City, probably being one of the most criticized teams, is still not far away from the title reach. So, I mean, let's talk about Arsenal to begin with. I think they're going to be playing. And they are playing Wolves today, which is an interesting one for sure. Because Arsenal would like to continue that dominance on top, and they would know that if they end up losing or dropping points in a game like this against the 12th place Wolves, that does mean that they might lose their spot at the top of the Premier League.
Oh
How
yeah.
do you reckon that match is going to go ahead today?
Well, very interesting game on the cards for sure. Because if you look at the table right now, uh, obviously Arsenal is right there on top with 30 points. But look at the teams behind them. It's just a game separating them. If Arsenal lose today or draw points here, what's going to happen is Manchester City or Liverpool will know that one win can certainly get them on top of the table. And even Aston Villa, for that matter, they had a phenomenal game last time around. So they are also there up in the race. So all in all, you have to say the teams haven't done any bad at all. Tottenham would be slightly worried. They've lost 3 games in a row now. After the start they've had to lose 3 games in a row, it's also because of the injuries they have to go through, a few red cards as well here and there. So they've not had the strongest of squads post the post definitely the international break. Now here is an opportunity for them to possibly turn things around pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how do you look at the Wolves team as well? They have been up and down for a while now, isn't it? If you just look at the overall side of it, they've come very close to relegation last time around. And this time again, they look to, once again secure that mid-table one. But you reckon they are a better team than that?
They certainly are a better team than that, though they have got some trade in and through trade out of some like Nunes went to City. But if you look at the team, Neves left the club as well earlier this season. But if you look at the team, it's slightly more weaker compared to other seasons they've had to compete, but still a team who can upset a lot of other teams. You saw the game against City, how they got those
Yeah.
important 3 points. That's an impact this team has got. On a good day, they can defeat any team. So that's a beauty of the Premier League as well. Premier League is such a league that you can upset any team on a given day. You can get those big results as well. So you can't take any team lightly, and a team like Wolves will be knowing that they can get better on Manchester United tonight or Arsenal tonight.
Yeah. I mean, on their day, that Wolves team are a dangerous side. And even if they're playing away from home at the Emirates, you would still say that, though they are a kind of team that has got on its day a giant killing ability. Now, if you look at the next, probably the most important match in today's match day, you would have to say that it is, I mean, you would have to say that it is going to be the one that Man United are going to play. This is Man United versus Newcastle. We just spoke about how they're both very close by at number 6 and number 7. Now, one of the teams will definitely get closer to number four today. Who do you think that's going to be? I mean, United had shown some form, but then they've really done well in Premier League compared to their upsets when it comes to Man United. I mean, when it comes to Champions League, we just speak about the Champions League night as well. They were having a 2-0 lead, ended up conceding three, and ended at 3-3. So, you reckon now they won't be as worried when it comes to the Premier League as they've really struggled in the Champions League, or you reckon that form will transfer?
I don't know, to be very honest with United, because they are extremely volatile at this point of stage. They seem to be playing well on certain days. They seem to be completely off the radar on certain days. So I think it's about them coming into equilibrium or coming into balance of finding things. Okay, yeah, we can compete in both these tournaments equally and without having a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the number one thing. It's to compete well. But other than that, I'd have to also admit that at this point of stage in the Premier League, one team who can really take the upper throttle from here on, it's also United. They've got an opportunity to finish in top four. I'm not sure if they can go on to win the title, to be very honest, because look at the team. They do not have a team to go on to win the title, to be very honest. The players will all have to chip in. And at this point, Onana is totally terribly out of form. And they ran close against Galatasaray. I think that's a game they should have gotten those 3 points, ideally speaking. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but having said that, tonight is a big game for them against Newcastle. Not an easy team to beat, and they're playing away from home. So, if they lose today, obviously there's one thing for sure: it's not going to sit right in Manchester United fans as well. They are definitely going to be demanding, though they've done a good run of form. If you look at the last 3 games, they won last 3 games. If you look at the table right now, yeah, they won last 3 games in comparison with what they were. So they're a team who's in rich vein of form when it comes to momentum. But if you look at Newcastle, they're right behind them. So
Yeah.
there's nothing to separate between number 6, 7, 8, even 9. You can say so, because Brighton is another team who has done extremely well this season. Though they've not had that. They did not have those results like last season where they really got so impactful results. But this season, as you say, it's been much more competitive. And if you look, even Brighton would know they're just 8 points behind the top position and 4 points behind or 6 points behind a top four. And even Newcastle and Manchester United will know that. It's marginal differences, but that's what you see at this point of stage in any season, right? You don't see that substantial leads been there for any team. Now, like post the game day 19 or game day 20 is when the maximum push will take place, where certain teams will make a way, certain teams will fall behind. You know who's fighting for the league, who's fighting for the top four.
Absolutely. I mean, you just spoke about Brighton now. Probably another match, and if you look at Brighton now, they are going to be playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Uh, I mean, what do you take about Chelsea season? It's just a repeat of last year, but they've looked better when they have had their chances. They ran Manchester City so close.
Yeah.
At a 3-3 draw. It was a very tight game. Pochettino thought that the last goal should not have been there. A lot of controversy there, but they did manage to rein them in. But then they end up losing 4-1 to Newcastle. So how do you really justify what's happening there? It just seems like another season where you can't expect anything out of Chelsea, whether it be winning or losing.
I agree with you. I mean, that's been one of the disappointments of the season, to be very fair, as to what's happening with the Chelsea football team. I mean, if you ask me personally, there's no single reason to pinpoint and say, okay, yeah, this is a reason why Chelsea are not doing well, or this is a reason why Chelsea has fallen behind. There are multiple reasons why Chelsea haven't been doing well. It's just not one or two, it's multiple reasons. And I think injuries are a concern for the team, to be very honest, because injuries are one of the reasons why the team has not done extremely well. But having said that, you should also know what has really gone with this team, right? What has really gone wrong. One of the reasons is that the midfield, it took a little bit of time for the midfield to really come together as a unit.
Yeah.
A lot of the Gallagher, is still settling in. You feel Enzo is still settling in. Then you feel Casado is there and there, but it's not really putting a performance like you would want him to put. They've got a lot of youngsters who are promising. I think Cole Palmer is one of the players who they can really invest in for the next few years. I think Mudryk has had a good comeback so far after all the criticism he's had to go through. But yeah, Chelsea is a promising team. That's what I didn't say. Now you can't write them off saying that, oh, it's another bad season just as yet. Yeah, you need to understand it's a transitional season once again for them. A lot of new signings, a new manager is still getting adapted to the conditions, the players. and he should have all the players fit and fine to really judge him as to how he goes about it. Some of the games when they've gone on to win, they've looked extremely pleasant. I mean, you can't if you look at the team, you'll be like, okay, this team can really do well. It's a sure shot top five, top six kind of a team. But on another day when they play such bad football, you'll be like, okay, this team is a mid-table team, and you have to question even more. So highly volatile team. But I again say once Nkunku is completely sit back and firing, Jackson, if he can really go on to push. I know we are expecting a lot of Nicholas Jackson, but I think he can do. But he can do really good. To be very honest, you can invest in him now and see how he can deliver at some stage.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's such a young team. You reckon that a lack of experience as well plays in when it comes to these important moments or keeping that consistency up, or you reckon it's something more than that?
I'd say it's a both. It's a consideration of both. To be honest, I to be very honest, I don't know if it's because of the young team or it is because they are a team who's still lacking belief as such. Because youngsters, there are a lot of other young teams like Brighton, for that matter, is a very young team.
Yeah,
They've done well. Or for the matter, Newcastle is okay. You can say it's a mix of youngsters and experienced bunch of folks. They've done well. Okay, the prime example is Tottenham Hotspurs this season.
yeah.
They've had a good young team for the matter. The way in which they've had Van den Ven, or for the matter, they've got a very young midfield. Okay, there's Hoiberg, there's Bissouma. Bissouma has done well this season considerably compared to last season. Lo Celso has done well. A lot of these youngsters have gone on to do well in comparison to previous year. Udogi for them, for the Tottenham Hotspurs team. If you look, even for Brighton, they've got a very similar age bracket to Chelsea. I know Chelsea is far more younger, but that's not an excuse, I believe, in this day and age, saying that, okay, if they're a very young team, and that's because of the reason why they cannot be, they should be given that leeway. I think we're way past that kind of narratives, and you should be judging them based on their performance.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you reckon about Pochettino's managerial debut for Chelsea as well? This is that year for them. They had a tumultuous time last time. They had three managers or rather two, yeah. I mean,
Two.
I think Lampard as well took over for a while.
Two
In the midst of
managers,
it, yeah.
two
So two
managers.
managers, and it's been, I think, four managers now in a couple of
Three,
years.
three
Yeah?
to be honest.
Three managers last season, yeah. It was Tuchel, Lampard, and who was the manager for Brighton? Who was, I mean, it's subsequently remember, I don't remember his
I
name.
forgot his name as well.
I think that's how relevant he was. Unfortunately, he had a legacy at Brighton. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and then
Yeah.
Lampard took for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Three managers now. Pochettino has come here with great hope. His team, the team that he left, graduated from, you would so have to say, Tottenham, is doing incredibly well. Now, how would you look at Pochettino's reign at Chelsea so far? Do you
Graham
reckon
Potter it was.
it was Graham Potter? Yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, I couldn't remember
Yeah, I
for
forgot him as well.
such. I mean, he had such a short stint as well, wasn't it? But yeah, how would you look at Pochettino's debut so far for Chelsea? You reckon he can do a lot better?
He can do a lot better. But he's a kind of guy who likes to manage a young squad. He doesn't like big superstars as well. He'd like to manage a young squad and make them better. He gives a lot of time to youngsters. He identifies them, invests in them. That's his manager style. He's done well so far with that. But I still think he can do a lot better because the stakes are obviously high when you're managing a team like Chelsea. You cannot
Absolutely.
say that we'll finish number 10 every season. We can get away with it because a lot more investment goes into a team like Chelsea. They are a team who strives for success regardless of Abramovich being there or even
Yeah.
if it's Stuart Bull, the hallmark or if you look at the blueprint of the club really strives on the fact that they are looking for success. And if you want investment, if you want to really be that big club, stay relevant, you'll have to fight for top four day in and day out every
Yeah.
single season. And last season you can say was okay, one blip, but you can't afford to repeat that this season. This season you have to pull up your socks. You have to finish in top six at least, if not top four. But at this point, it's a catch-up game for Chelsea once again with the start they've had. So it is hard. But if you look at last season, Liverpool was on similar lanes. But look at them this season. That's what Liverpool can do. Liverpool really have put the accelerator, and they've been doing well. So once Liverpool, Arsenal, and City are on the game, it's a much more interesting Premier League than last season, for that matter. Then the top four teams, other Aston Villa can pull up a surprise. Tottenham, Manchester
And they
United,
are already pulling up a
Newcastle,
surprise.
and these lads can always come in
Yeah.
and do a job. But top three race is always going to be between these three.
I mean, I think let's talk now about the marquee match of this match day, which is going to be number two placed Man City and Tottenham. Now, what's interesting about this, Abel, that obviously you've got Postecoglou, the new coach from Celtic. We spoke about him last time. But if Tottenham win the game tomorrow, they get 29 points. And Man City also, as part of the deal, if they win tomorrow,
Yeah.
they can, come very close to Man City. I know, obviously, I think goal difference wise, if you look, Man City are way ahead. So you're not going to be placed number two, but it definitely pushes them from 5 to 3.
Yeah.
Especially considering if Liverpool does make a mistake as well. But I think almost certainly they're going to be number 3 because Arsenal might just get number 2 or number 3 depending on how it goes. Liverpool might end up at 31, but Tottenham for sure will end up at number 3, and that's going to be a big boost for them because you always want to be in the top 4,
Yeah.
if not the number 1. And I think you would say Tottenham deserves it as well, the kind of season that they've been having. And as a Man City fan yourself, that you have to be wary of this team because they can hit you hard.
Oh, we've not really gotten a result against Tottenham in a while now.
Yeah.
It's one team who's really had the better of Manchester City, but it's a different Tottenham. They are a Tottenham who likes to play with a high line. They are very attacking in their mindset. And Man City also haven't got the results in the last 2 games, one against Chelsea and one against Liverpool. I mean, it's been hard 4 games for Manchester City. They've had to play some of the best teams in the league. A 1-1 draw against Liverpool, missed their chances, did not grab the chances which you thought they should have finished. That came to hit them hard with that Trent Alexander last 2 minutes equalizer, which really stalled the efforts which they had put in. But other than that, I'd say Man City will know that this is a very important game week.
Absolutely.
They'll have to push the accelerator as well, because if you're going to lose points over here, it's going to be hard to catch up, because you don't want an Arsenal or a Liverpool to run away so early. You don't want to be 4 or 5 points behind them. I mean, last season you had 5 points, you have that extra bit of luxury to chase things down. But it's not going to happen every season, especially a team like Liverpool. They barely drop points. You
Yeah.
know that until unless something drastically goes wrong. Even Arsenal might. You still know that Arsenal are highly likely to drop points, but Liverpool will not. So you will have to be at most at your absolute best to really compete in your top 3. Because if you want to win the league, obviously aspiration is again to win the league for Man City.
Yeah.
There's nothing to drop the guard here.
The Man City Ultras don't take anything less than that now.
You don't, because you
Yeah.
you are going for your 4th title in a row. It's historic. I mean, not a lot of teams have done. The only one team in the history has done that, basically. So you're going for that 4th title in a row. You've really dominated the league. I mean, there is no doubt that Man City are the best team of this generation. But having said that, you'd have to go up. I mean, you don't have a Kevin De Bruyne. You are certainly missing Gundogan somewhere, I feel, if you look at the season, because there's no De Bruyne. And
Yeah.
and at the same time, the defense line has been slightly shaky at times with no John Stones as well. I
Yeah.
really feel sometimes. So some of the big players are not there, but that is no excuse. If you are the best team, you should be able to fill it up. And they've done a decent job so far. I mean, even with the kind of injuries and the misses they've had, they've done a far decent job. But they know that the efforts they have put in the Champions League has been phenomenal. Efforts they put in the Premier League has been so far so good. It's not still the best. So they know now from here on for Manchester City, it's the next level game. Once I think 19 games are done, you know that you are in the mid season, and from here on, there's only one way, that is
Yeah.
to push the final throttle, which is to finish in the top.
Absolutely. I mean, if you just look at the list, I think they've got Kovacic as well added to that now.
Yeah,
And that has also hurt them because I think Gundogan's replacement was, or the idea was for Kovacic to play that similar role. So now you've got that role missing from the team completely. But now you mentioned 3 players. Now, for me personally, I think John Stones missing out is really
Yeah.
kind of broken that system that Pep Guardiola mastered last time around, that
yeah.
brought them to the Champions League winning title. Do you reckon now, like that role, right? Who do you think can play that role well, or are they going to look for someone in the January transfer window?
I think they might just look for someone in the January transfer window. There's no reports yet, but definitely they'll go for someone in the transfer window, considering the injuries they've had to face. And I think so far, they'll also want to fit in Grealish somewhere. He's sitting in the bench. I think you would have to use Grealish in some role or the other. But Julian Alvarez has done a great job as well.
Yeah.
So it's an issue again. You have players, but at the same time, you don't have players for certain roles. So there's some area it's just overcrowded. Some area you just have to use the players what you have who have been sure starters. So I think it's a good headache, and also certain areas you'll have to fill the hole. I think Nunes will have to play a lot better. I think there's a reason why he's also brought into the team. He has a bigger job to do for this team. if he can step up his game, at least coming from this game week, if he can step up the game, I think Pep will know. Pep will still be now under pressure, but if he doesn't get a result here, he'll slightly start feeling it. He'll be like, okay, wait a minute, okay, this has not gone our way.
Yeah.
We'll have to push. We'll have to push a lot more harder. So I think Pep will know that as of now, it's fine. We've lost certain players. We're still 1 point away from top. He know that it's just a matter of a game. They have game against Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
They can really upbeat them 2 times and get that position. But at the same time, if they look behind the neck, they know that Liverpool is right there. And last week was an opportunity which you missed. They could have really gone past Liverpool and not given them that. You would have been on top of the table right now, and Liverpool would have been at least 3 points behind you. So that's an opportunity they feel like they'd have missed.
Yeah.
But they know that come the January, February time, you'd have to make the right signings to stay relevant in the league. And you are fighting for Champions League once again. It's not a team that it's no more fighting for just the league.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the teams in this are, but Liverpool have to just focus on the league.
Yeah.
Aston Villa will have to focus on the league. When Manchester United, I think, once they get officially knocked out of the Champions League, they have to just focus on the league. Even Tottenham are.
Yeah.
Arsenal, I think, will focus both, but mainly on one thing.
Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal are really looking to win the
Champions League as much as what
maybe a quarter final
so
or a semi-final.
one team in this was really fighting for all 3 cups.
Yeah.
Treble once again is Man City, and a team who can actually do a double two-peat of a treble is only Man City at this point in the world.
Yeah.
I can say Bayern is there, but I still think Man City are.
But Man City's job to do that.
Yeah,
is
once
a lot
again, if you look at
harder.
the odds, Man City are the highly likely team to win the Champions League.
Absolutely true that.
Until something very drastically goes
Yeah.
wrong. I don't think any team can defeat Man City.
Yeah.
Actually, you have to play a good Bayern team can, a good Madrid team can. There's no doubt about it. But so far, it's going to be that way.
Yeah. I mean, what do you reckon about Postecoglou versus Pep Guardiola? Now, I think Pep has shown a lot of debut managers their place in the league before. I'm talking about the ones who said that certain eras will end.
Yeah.
But Postecoglou is a lot more, simple and straightforward. He likes what he sees. I mean, he says what he likes and he says what he doesn't. I mean, and that's pretty much him. Now, you would say that it's going to be an interesting one because these are two managers who are, one has obviously shaped a renewal or rather a revolution in that club, and the one is looking to shape one up.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be an interesting one as well. Now, how do you reckon their tactics are going to match? Because especially Postecoglou does not like sitting back. He keeps attacking and he keeps coming after you.
And that's where Pep will realize it because City doesn't like to play against a team who really goes to the back line, a close shape. This is where City will really enjoy facing this Spurs team, as I mentioned. Previous Spurs teams were extremely solid in their back line. They kept, pushing City. They made sure that City did not get a single opportunity and they converted their chance on the break.
Yeah.
That's how the last 2 seasons, whenever Spurs defeated City, that's how they went about it. But City will know there's a clear opportunity with the likes of Doku, who they can use, Haaland, who can get in behind, the line of the Tottenham defense. And this is an opportunity for Man City. I think this game is going to be a lot more even, and City will fancy their chance a lot more against this Spurs team than the other teams.
Okay, then guys, thank you so much for joining us. And once again, before we leave, make sure you guys check out Boomer 11 because regardless of who does well on match number 14 in the Premier League, you can definitely, play all those matches and ensure that you get your win. And it's free, of course. There's no risk involved at all. So why not go ahead and try your luck at Boomer 11? And thank you once again, and we'll be back soon.
Bye-bye. See you guys.